Well, honey, sometimes you just have to compromise, my mom said during one of our usual Sunday afternoon phone chats. She was chopping zucchini in her kitchen in Portland, and I was sitting on a park bench in the sun here in San Francisco. I had finally, nervously, told her that while my husband Jack has always been certain that he wants to have kids, I am still, after a decade, not sure. Jack is getting scared, I admitted, and I am too. I needed something from my mom, but I didn't know what. Certainly not a pep talk about compromise in marriage. That is not helpful, I told her. I'm 32, and I still hate it when my mom can't give me what I need. So of course, I'm also terrified of my own limitations as a potential mother. To hear Jack talk, having a kid means having an orgasm, 9 months later losing some sleep, then spending Saturday mornings building robots for 15 years. For me, and for nearly every honest mother I know, parenting means failing every day for the rest of your life. My training as a psychotherapist does not ease my ambivalence towards motherhood. I scan my old textbooks, and all I see are the words, "the mother." In order to raise a healthy child, they all say in some form, the mother must be warm, attentive, and loving. The mother must not be cold, distant, or preoccupied with her own feelings. Reading these books, you'd think that the emotional health of all humanity is yet another burden that women carry alone. The stakes don't seem so high for men like Jack. Jack never gets caught up in the perfection-failure dichotomy the way I do. He just sees himself as good enough to be a dad. Good enough. In the 1960s, in the midst of a flood of psychological research on mothers and children, British psychoanalyst Donald Winnicott coined the phrase, good enough mother. A good enough mother, Winnicott explained, is an ordinary person who meets her child's needs most of the time, but not all the time. The good enough mother is allowed to fail once in a while. So, I asked my own therapist, what's the bottom threshold for good enough mothering? For the past year, I've sat in this man's office and spun around and around the topic of motherhood like a carousel with an anxiety disorder. I don't even know if my own mother was good enough, I continued, so what chance would I have? And what on earth did Winnicott even mean by that phrase? Winnicott was a product of his time, my therapist responded, so he focused on the mother as the primary caregiver. But modern research has found that children are happiest when each adult caring for them is satisfied with his or her role, no matter how big or small it is. Whoa. It makes sense. After all, how can any one person ever be enough for another? Don't we all need a village behind us? For years, Winnicott's good enough mother was the only cure I knew for the perfectionism that seems to plague women who parent. But I think we need a new phrase, one that gives all of us, including me and my mother, permission to be not good enough, so that we can be freed to let others fill in the gaps. I'm calling this composite mothering. Composite mothering means helping your daughter discern which adults in her life can understand her in ways that you maybe just can't. It means paying for your son's therapy when he turns 25 or maybe at age 9. It means childcare exchanges, so for an afternoon you can give to other kids what their parents lack, and vice versa. Most of all, composite mothering means we are all fast friends with our own incompleteness, our needs and failures, and the many ways we are not enough. As Jack and I try on the possibility of becoming parents, I'm realizing that the people in this world who most need mothering might not actually be children. They might be the mothers. And so, in preparation for possible motherhood, I'm letting myself be mothered. I take in maternal care from a variety of sources. My therapist, the big dude at my church whose hugs I would pay good money for, And my 2 clinical supervisors, women who have heard my dumbest professional moments and still cheer me on. And there's my mother, whose cheery Sunday afternoon messages I always save, because her voice, like a flashlight in a cavern, helps me see into the crevices of my own longing. Her voice stirs me to begin piecing together my own composite mothering. The best gift she continues to give is awakening me to my own constant and endless need for mothering love. Thank you.